Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about 3 fights. Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell, Hughie Fury versus Alexander Povetkin, and also Erislandy Lara versus Ramon Alvarez. Join us. Okay, we're back to the Spartan Boxing radio show. This is Dave and Joey waiting on Quarreling to show up.
Good luck with that, people.
What's Quarreling doing right now?
I don't know, but it's like that
something about training a bartender who doesn't know what a wine glass is,
or what a domestic or an import is.
That's not a bartender.
Can't. How did she get hired?
That's not even a busboy. I have no.
I mean, I can think of. I know why she got hired, probably, but.
Anyway, we're gonna start ahead. We're gonna start without him. We do have 3 fights that are pretty decent fights tomorrow that are happening. Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell. There's Hughie Fury versus Alexander Povetkin, and Erislandy Lara against Ramon Alvarez, who is Canelo Alvarez's brother. So, why don't we start with
Ramon Alvarez?
Why don't we start with the main event really tomorrow, the big fight tomorrow, which is Lomachenko.
Let's save that for last in case Quarreling checks in.
Okay, then which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Erislandy Lara.
Okay, fine, we're done. Move on.
Right, because I've never seen Ramon Alvarez fight, and he's got 7 losses.
I have. I've seen him. He's not.
Maybe I have. Oh wait, he lost to Brandon Rios?
Yeah.
Last year?
Yes.
I think I remember that. I think that's where I saw him fight.
So Ramon Alvarez, he's 33. He's really a 147 guy. He's not really a 154. He just barely moved up.
Right.
His reach is about 72 inches from tip of the finger to tip of the finger. The most notable thing in his record is that back in 2008, he fought in a card where all of the Alvarez brothers fought in the same card. It's like 5 or 6, 8 or 10. I don't know how many brothers there are, but all of them fought in the same card. And
he just started in 2008, so
not all of them won. So yeah, it was his debut and he lost. So he's lost to Antonio Margarito. He's lost to Omar Chavez. He's lost to Brandon Rios at 154, if you can believe that. Brandon Rios was a 140 fighter, 135 fighter at one point, actually. And now he's fighting one of probably historically one of the better 154 fighters.
He lost to 4 other guys you'd never heard of, and he's got 1, 2, 3 draws and a no contest.
So how this is a main event, I don't understand it, but who's the outfit?
So that's the more interesting thing to talk about. We know Lara's going to win. This is not going to be, oh my God, you never know what's going to happen. No, we know what's going to happen. What's really shocking is that this is a main event on PBC.
Right. Well, does it shock you? It doesn't shock me at all.
Sadly, no. It's just like, here's your favorite star. So you throw a guy in a ring with, somebody's brother. And maybe Lara looks at it like, I'm getting revenge. At least I'm beating Canelo's brother because I didn't beat him. But a lot of people did think he'd beat him.
Right. So
it was close.
Lara, on the other hand, he's starting to get up there in age. He's 36. He is. Yeah, he's going to have the reach advantage. He's going to have the technical advantage. He's going to probably have the power advantage because really Alvarez doesn't have a lot of power and doesn't have his punching technique is not very good. But Lara has.
He's got about 7 inches of reach. Yeah. He has believe it or not, less fights, less knockouts. But
there's no questioning Lara's class and talent. I mean, this guy.
Well, he's been in with world class competition.
In 05, he won the world championships at welterweight. He won the Caribbean Games back in, was it the Caribbean? Maybe it was the World Champion or the Caribbean Championship Games in 06. And he won the he got silver, I believe, at the World Cup in 05 or 06. So he's got talent. Then he defected in 07 before the Beijing Olympics. So he didn't participate in those. He probably would have been favorite at those games. And they caught his ass in Brazil. He was caught, and Cuba banned him. And essentially, and I heard, I think it was, I don't remember, it was Rigondeaux that was tried to defect with him. They had him basically in a house they wouldn't even let him out. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't shadow box. They couldn't do anything for like a year. And so finally they defected.
Right, that's why it doesn't matter that he's 36 because he's kind of been preserved. Right. It's like Floyd retiring for 2 years. He kind of, preserved himself.
Basically,
cryo chamber.
Whoever his promoters or managers wanted to be back then, got a speedboat and went and picked his ass up and took him to Florida. He's lost some very questionable fights. He lost against Paul Williams. I saw that fight when it happened. I thought
he beat Paul Williams.
I thought he beat him fair and square. He had a split decision against Alvarez.
I was at that fight. It was in Atlantic City. I was at that fight, and he beat Paul Williams.
Yeah, I agree. I remember that fight vividly, and I thought that he was completely robbed.
He's got a draw to Vanis Martrosian, that's kind of surprising.
That fight was terrible. This is the problem with this guy. He's in great fights and he's in shitty fights. And that fight with Vanis was terrible. It was terrible. That should have been a no contest, even if it went 12 rounds.
Right, but he's the kind of guy that fights down to his opposition, or up to his opposition for that matter. Like with Jarrett Hurd, he gives you an absolute war, which you're not used to seeing him in.
But
once he gets that type of opponent, right. Yeah. So I was like, oh, where's this guy been? But and with Canelo, it was a good technical fight. It was a decent fight, and a lot of people think he won.
Against Carlos Molina, I thought he won, and he got a draw.
Right.
Now he's fighting.
He has 3 draws too. He's got a draw against Brian Carlos Castano.
I guess he's just, it's a stay busy fight.
And the only thing that's probably just as shocking as this being a main event is that it's for a vacant world title. I just wonder how the hell Ramon Alvarez is getting a shot at a vacant world title.
and where's the Charlo? Where's Charlo? Why isn't he fighting for a vacant world title against Lara instead? You have
you're talking about Jamel. You're talking about Mel.
Yeah. You have J-Rock fighting Hurd again
this December.
Right. And this would have been a great opportunity for PBC to put Lara against Charlo and then have the winners of each fight meet each other.
So
it's a wasted opportunity.
Right.
I don't understand how the matchmakers, unless they're just trying to protect Charlo. That's all I can think.
Remember the movie? It was the Adam Sandler movie. He's the lazy guy, Big Daddy.
Oh yeah.
And he's with that chick, and she leaves him for the old man because the old man had a 5-year plan.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was like Christy Swanson that she was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So she leaves him for the old man, and the old man had like a 5 because they were working at Hooters together. Remember? And that was the 5-year plan. So this is, I don't know. This is like the old man's 5-year plan. We'll see what happens.
So to me, it's going to be, this is just a showcase fight. Again, stay busy fight. It's a wasted opportunity for me. It could have been Charlo against Lara. That would have been a great fight to have. And then
I mean,
the
he
winners.
hasn't fought since March, so it's 6 months basically.
Yeah.
And okay, so the fight with Hurd was the real deal. It was April of last year. He hadn't fought in 11 months, and now he's got basically 2 stay busy fights in a row.
Right.
But what are you staying busy for if you're not going to get a real fight?
If you're not going to get a real fight, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, and we have J-Rock and Hurd fighting the rematch already.
Right.
See, some of these things just don't. It's good. It's great, but then you have the the other 2 guys. Just I don't understand this.
Some of it makes perfect sense, and some of it makes no sense at all. And then when you add it all up, it doesn't make any sense because you got 2 of the right guys fighting, another guy fighting someone who has no business being in the ring,
right?
And then you figure, all right, well, at least maybe they'll get together. It doesn't happen. Then it doesn't happen, and that's why it overall doesn't. It winds up not making any sense.
I don't see Alvarez doing much in there. He's gonna. He doesn't have much stamina anyway. He doesn't know how to throw a punch correctly. Lara's basically gonna pop
I don't even know how that fight. Like Canelo's your brother, dude. Like, how do you suck at this? Like, you can't be that bad at this.
I don't know. But hey, not everybody is as talented as the top guys. It takes.
Do you want a prediction?
At the end, we'll do a prediction, but we already know what's going to happen in this fight. Pretty much, unless
I know who's winning.
Yeah.
No, but this okay. So this might be the situation again where you get the Lara that fights down to his opposition,
right?
And instead of getting someone making quick work of Alvarez, this could be a dragged out, long, boring fight, and it's like, thank God I just pressed record and I didn't actually sit home to watch this.
Yeah,
because that's what's going to happen.
Probably.
And I might record it and still not watch it.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot too. Like, oh, he won? Just like I delete, whatever. Anyway.
What was the other fight? The other fight's more interesting. The other fight is Hughie Fury, which is Tyson Fury's younger brother. He's age 24. Right. He's 6'6" in height. He came in at the weigh-in at 224 pounds. He's got 80 inch reach, which is about 5 inches total in advantage over Povetkin. He's fighting Alexander Povetkin, who is very good. Now, Hughie Fury, he turned pro when he was 18. Usually for a heavyweight, that's kind of young. He's at a young age. Usually heavyweights end up starting later, and they start getting more seasoned as they get into the 30s. But he's had some health issues. He had a skin condition, an immunological skin condition, acne in his body. It got really bad at one point, and he had basically the doctors were saying, "How are you fighting? You can't fight like this." So he had to get that treated. He ended up having to pull out of a Joseph Parker fight, which was supposed to be his big fight because he had a lower back injury. And later on, he lost a majority decision to Parker. And then he lost a unanimous decision to Pulev. So now he's fighting Alexander Povetkin. Listen, this guy, Hughie Fury, is not as talented as his brother. He's not.
Nope.
But he's young. He's learning. He is tall. I think that with the right training and the right instruction, he could be something good. He comes in shape. He came in great shape from what I saw on the weigh-in. But he's fighting somebody who's got a lot of experience and has fought just about everybody in the business, which is Alexander Povetkin.
I don't like the fact that Povetkin's last fight was basically a year ago. That was against Anthony Joshua. That was the middle of September last year. That's almost a year.
Yeah.
And he's already older. Who knows that he's 39 for the last year.
He's 39.
So from 38 to 39, you're not, in their profession, they're not aging well,
right,
for the most part. And I don't think he took a lot of punishment from Joshua. He actually did well against Joshua. I think he had Joshua hurt in the first round.
yeah,
He gave him some trouble. There was a lot of exchanges where he returned fire, and it looked like it bothered Joshua. And it kind of, between that fight and the way Joshua fought in the Parker fight, there were a few fights in a row that kind of put me off a little bit about Joshua. And, me and you were at the fight when he lost to Ruiz. And it wasn't that shocking because I kind of went into that fight thinking like he's not been exposed, but maybe a little. And Ruiz is all wrong for him. So anyway, off of Joshua, I think Povetkin did well in that fight. I wish he didn't take a year off. I wish he would have stayed, fresh and active, and maybe he should have taken a warm a stay busy fight.
But he's
I know which I know which way I'm leaning on this though.
He's classes above Hughie Fury. He really, I mean, this guy.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, he in his early years, in his teen and up to about 21, he was a kickboxer. He won gold at the Goodwill Games in 01. He won the European Championships twice in 02 and 04. He won the World Championships in 03. He won the Olympics in 04. He ended up with an amateur record of 125 and 7, which is pretty decent. The only few negative things that he has against him is that he is a cheat. He's tested positive for a banned substance back in 17. That ended up getting the
that
Wilder,
costed him the Wilder fight.
The Wilder fight, and Wilder got paid for that too. So, but he's beat just about everybody out there. He's beat everybody from Larry Donald, who had a win over Evander Holyfield. He beat Chris Bird, Eddie Chambers, Chagayev, Huck, Rockman, Manuel Char, Takam. Takam's still fighting.
David Price still fighting.
Destroyed David Price. Beat Duhaupas. He lost to Klitschko and he lost to AJ, and he lost those fights. He lost. So, but he is a class. Maybe he's not an elite, heavyweight, but he is.
Neither is Fury.
Fury is definitely not at that level. So I have a hard time with this fight. It depends on how Povetkin comes into the fight. He didn't look too bad. He looked a little bit soft at the weigh-in. He came in at 226, but he's about 4 inches shorter than Hughie Fury.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning to Povetkin winning this fight.
I am too. I like the experience. Like I said, I don't love the fact that he's been off that long, but he's just like you said. He's been in there with everybody. He's a professional. He
knows the tricks. And I think that it's.
And if he was able to hang in there with AJ, he could.
Yeah.
Look. Do you know who Hughie Fury's last fight was?
Hughie Fury? No.
Samuel Peter, who started fighting back in 01.
Yeah.
He TKO'd
I couldn't even believe Samuel Peter was still fighting.
I thought that was like a different guy named Samuel Peter. I'm like, wait, that's the same guy?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Who got next?
But yeah.
Who got next?
It's actually him.
Yeah.
The rest of his resume is a bunch of who's. I mean, everybody starts off like that.
If Hughie Fury pulls this off, it's going to be a big win for him. It's going to be a big win and it'll be a meaningful win, even though Povetkin is towards the latter years of his career. It's still a huge step up in class.
It would have been the same like if Thurman would have actually beat Pacquiao. Everybody kind of wrote Pacquiao off. He's old. He's 40. He's this. Not everybody. I know I picked him to win. Maybe not on a podcast, but I bet people. Yeah. I just felt like he was going to get robbed. But
I think that Thurman is at a higher skill level than Hughie Fury. So that's why I'm saying it would be huge for Hughie Fury to beat Povetkin.
Right.
If Thurman would have beat Pacquiao, you know, we would have been okay with that because Thurman is a good fighter, regardless whether, he lost and how he lost and
Or
all
how
that,
inactive he's been.
or how inactive he's been. He's still a very skillful fighter. Plus, he's from my city, so I have to, defend him a little bit.
It's actually a decent comparison to that because of the difference in age, the experience of Pacquiao and Povetkin versus the experience of, like, I would say Thurman definitely has more experience than someone like Fury, but the disparity might be about the same, which is why I use it as a comparison. So I guess we're both taking Lara.
I'm taking Lara, of course.
I'm taking Lara by decision because I think he's going to stink up the joint. He's going to fight down his opposition, and he's going to bore us.
I think it's just going to be it's just going to be a jab match. He's just going to keep him at bay with the jab.
And that's why he won't knock him out.
Yeah.
For this fight, I don't know. I don't know. Povetkin's not. His KO percentage is only about 67, 2/3 of his fights, or 2/3 of his wins, I should say. Good. It's not great. We saw that he hit Joshua and bothered him.
Yeah.
And Joshua's about the same size as Fury, 6'5", 6'6", whatever. So he can hurt a bigger guy. I'll take Povetkin by knockout.
I'll take Povetkin. I think it's going to be an ugly fight. If he's able to connect on flush on Hughie Fury, I think he'll knock him out. But I think it's really going to go to the cards. And if Povetkin doesn't get robbed, he'll get the win but it's going to be an ugly fight.
It's in the O2. It's on the undercard of our next fight we're going to talk about, which is Lomachenko and Luke Campbell. So, there's always home cooking in a lot of sports, and definitely in boxing. So, he better knock him out then. Povetkin better take care of business because you don't want to leave it to the judges. And, we've seen a lot of bad decisions over the years. It's not going to be the end of the world because, I don't know how much these two.
So you don't think Hughie Fury is ready? You don't think Hughie Fury is ready for that level yet?
No.
Or
definitely not anything.
Will he ever be?
I don't think so.
Well, it's a good time to find out.
Well, yeah, I think if he loses this fight, we're going to know exactly what he is, and you don't have to expect anything from him going forward. So,
which we haven't really been expecting much from him in the past either. So,
right, but then you lose to a 40-year-old.
Yeah,
you're going to get clowned.
Yeah. So then the next fight coming up, which is the real main event of the night, is the Vasyl Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell. Now we know about Lomachenko. We know all his accolades. We know who he is and what he's done, but not many people know Luke Campbell, and
not many people in the U.S.
Not many people in the U.S. Let me rephrase that. All the crazy U.K. fans out there, they know who Luke Campbell is, and
all of our boys are going to the fight tomorrow.
There's even a phone booth painted in gold in his town in his honor because of his Olympic gold medal back in 2012.
Oh, wow, nice.
In the bantamweight division. So they know who he is in the UK. The kid, he looks like he's 12. If you look at this kid,
he does look young.
He's 31. He's the same age as Lomachenko. He looks like he's 10 years younger than Lomachenko. Easily. He's a fairly tall kid. He's 5'9". Loma's listed at 5'7". He looks a lot taller.
He looks shorter than that.
Yeah, Luke Campbell looks a lot taller, Loma looks a lot shorter. There's about a 6 or about a 3-inch reach advantage in each hand. He is ranked number 2 by Ring Magazine. So this kid, he's got technical ability. He won gold at the European Championships in Liverpool in 2008. He won, like I said before, the gold medal in the bantamweight division in London in front of his crowd, his people. Back in 2011, he won silver at the World Championships. And there's even a first-class postage depicting Luke that was issued by the Royal Mail in the UK.
Jeez.
This kid. He's gonna have a following out there.
I'm sure he does. And you know what? The fight's over there, but if it was over here, the Brits would travel well, and the arena would be packed.
Yeah.
Loma sells out for the most part. Smaller arenas.
Sure.
But if they had this at the Garden, it'd be pretty close to sold out, because I think Luke would bring a lot of people over.
Well, he had some hiccups in his career as a fighter. He had a split decision loss again, Ivan Mendy, which he ended up taking revenge on and winning, beating Ivan Mendy later on. But he also had
about 2 fights ago. It was about a year ago. It was last year.
And I'm not sure, but I think his dad dying of cancer has something to do with that.
Well, that was that was also on the undercard of Joshua and Povetkin. Yeah.
So he also has a split decision loss against Jorge Linares. I don't know if you saw the fight. I saw the fight a couple of times. The first time it happened, and then I saw it again recently. Here's my impression of that fight. He got caught early.
Yep. I think first or second round, right?
Yeah. So it was early. But then somewhere around the 5th, 6th round, he made the adjustments, and I was really impressed with his body work. He was hitting Linares with some hard body shots, hard left hands. The guy's a southpaw, for those that don't know.
Right.
He was really, I wouldn't say picking Linares apart, because Linares is a tough fighter, but he was finding ways to disrupt Linares and land his punches too. And I kind of agree with a lot of people, especially all the UK fans. But I thought that if it wasn't a draw, I thought that Campbell pulled that fight out. Linares kind of faded a little bit towards the middle rounds, and Campbell, he showed poise, he showed determination, and he landed the better shots the rest of the fight.
Linares kind of lost his way in the middle of that fight.
Yeah.
He seemed to pick it back up, later. He might have given, some of that early lead back in those middle rounds, but I think, probably around the 10th round, he kind of got his footing back, and he might have, did enough late to win the fight. The knockdown probably was the difference.
There was very close scores. It was, if I remember right, 15-13 for Campbell, 14-13 for Linares, and I think the other one was 15-12 for Linares.
15-12, 14-13, and 13-15.
Right.
Okay.
So it was, listen, even if he really did lose the fight, he showed that he belongs in that category there.
He fits up there. He's at the top of that division.
Maybe the weight is not to his favor. Maybe
ideal for him, for his height.
So,
maybe he's better off at 140.
Maybe.
I'll tell you what, though, he weighed less than Lomachenko today in the weigh-in.
Yeah, not by much though, just by
a quarter of a pound. Still, to have at least 3 inches on him and still weigh less than him. So I don't know what their game plan is. I have not seen a lot of Luke Campbell. Maybe I've seen him 2 or 3 times, the most. From what I notice, and this is going to be his problem tomorrow, and we don't have to talk about Loma. This is just what I noticed about Luke Campbell.
We'll talk a little bit about Loma, and I have some trivia for you guys.
Extremely inaccurate with his punches. Extremely inaccurate. I've seen clips of him against guys you've never heard of, and they were making him miss and miss and miss. And what do you think Loma's going to do? And I think when you're missing that much, you get more tired when you miss a punch than when you land it. And Loma will make you miss. And then when he returns and he counters and he starts hitting you, It's going to create problems. He doesn't look good fighting off the ropes. He doesn't look good fighting backwards. And he is more of an attack style fighter. He does come forward a lot. And he looks good when he comes forward. He does loop his punches a little too much for my liking.
Yeah.
But, and that could be a problem against Lomachenko. You don't want to be out here because, you know, Loma's he's going to step in and he's going to take that reach advantage away. And he also gives up his height because he kind of crouches a little bit when he throws.
He does. And Loma has a way.
He's going to even out that height advantage is going to be gone.
Yeah, Loma has a way to discourage his opponents and by taking away their opportunity to land on him. But we have to keep in consideration that Loma has tasted the canvas at 135, and Luke Campbell can hit pretty hard too. So, if Loma gets caught, this could be a very, very interesting fight. The kid has very good technical ability. He has very good footwork. He has pretty decent defense, although he leaves himself open sometimes when he's throwing punches in the exchange. But you know, this could be an interesting fight. Otherwise, I see.
I don't think he has bad defense.
Classing him. I think
right. I don't think he has bad defense. I think his defense is average, which is not going to be good enough against Lomachenko.
Yeah.
That's the only problem. If he's fighting anybody else, he might be able to get away with a few things. He got away with some things with Linares.
Yeah.
But we've
heard the Salido gave Luke Campbell some advice on how to beat Loma. If Luke Campbell takes the advice from Salido, a guy that's like 5'2", you know, what is he going to tell him to do? Get inside and fight him inside? He's going to lose all his advantages. A tall, rangy, lengthy fighter. That's the wrong advice to take if that's the advice he was given.
When you told me we were going to discuss this fight, we were going to try to get a show up, the first thing I thought of was the Ramirez Hooker fight.
Right.
Taller guy, longer range, and Ramirez just kept coming, and you know Loma will. And he kind of took some of, Maurice doesn't crouch like Luke Campbell does. He didn't give up his height.
Yeah.
But I think he gave up his reach by letting Ramirez in and pressure him. Loma will do that. And then when Loma starts to connect and make you miss, he's going to step to the side, he's going to step this way, and he's going to play that angles game. And that's where I don't know. And I've read something recently, maybe as soon as last week, as recent as last week, that Luke Campbell was sparring several people at the same time to get ready for, maybe someone coming from an angle. He was trying to spar maybe 3 different guys at once to get used to maybe a punch coming from an angle that he wouldn't normally see it.
That's quite interesting.
Great strategy. I think that's cool.
That's a good strategy. Yeah.
I guarantee you can add those 3 guys up and they still don't equal Loma.
Right.
So that might not matter. But it's smart. That's the way he has to prepare. If it helps, great, good for him. But we'll see. I don't know. I've seen too many flaws. Like I said, I don't think his hands are fast. He gives up his height. He does a couple of things wrong, and his defense is average at best. It just won't be good enough. I could see it going.
I like his jab. I like his body work, and I think that is going to be effective and surprising. Loma.
But maybe because they're both southpaws too.
Yeah,
they're both southpaws too. Yeah. The only real notable southpaw we saw Loma in the ring with was Rigo, and that was a mismatch. He was much bigger than him. And
what can we say about Loma that hasn't been already said? He's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist and world, a championship class guy who's gone up a couple of weight classes to try and find some competition. Nobody at 130 wanted to fight him, so he had to move up to 135. That right. That may be his undoing if he keeps. I don't think that. What has he fought at 135? 1-2 fights. I don't think he's tested enough. His amateur record was.
Where did he fight Rigondeaux? 130.
He fought Rigondeaux at 130. Rigondeaux came up from 122.
Okay.
Because he couldn't find anybody to fight him.
Linares, Pedraja, and Anthony Crolla were all at 135.
Yeah.
So 3. This is his 4th fight at 135.
So amateur record of 396 fights with 1 loss. So here's a little bit of trivia for the viewers. Put your comments down below. Who did he lose to? That one amateur fight. Which fighter did he lose to take away that O?
You couldn't set me up to look smart and give me the answer beforehand?
No, I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to let the viewers give us the answer down in the comments below.
Okay.
So
now I have to Google it.
Well, don't say anything on the air. So I think that Lomachenko is going to outclass him, but it's going to be a more interesting fight than many people are going to think. I think that Lomachenko just outclasses everybody. That we expect that. He looked in very good shape. Luke Campbell looked in very good shape. I don't expect Lomachenko losing this fight. It may even go by KO. If one thing that long rangy fighters are vulnerable with is body work and body shots. You see Crawford prove that with Indongo. When they're long, like, you got to go to the body because they're going to be weak in the body. And I think that's what's going to happen in this fight. I think Lomachenko is going to land some body shots.
Lomachenko got Linares to the body. Linares wasn't as long and tall, as lanky as Luke Campbell, but he got him there.
So my prediction: Lomachenko by KO for this fight. I'm gonna say Povetkin by a very ugly unanimous decision, and Lara by another boring unanimous decision also. So what are your predictions?
I got Lara by boredom to death. I got Povetkin by KO.
Okay.
Unanimously, we're all going to be unanimously bored to death.
Yeah, we will.
I'm going to take Povetkin by KO, and after further review, Lomachenko by KO. And it's not just the tall, long, lanky fighter. I don't love the like I said, the looping hooks and stuff. He throws a lot of wide punches, and you get caught like that too. So I could see him definitely getting dropped.
The kid's got heart. The kid's got heart, and he's faced adversity. He's gotten cut in fights. He's
in the Linares fight. They said that was his first cut.
He's been able to overcome stuff like that. He didn't fold. He really and showed me something, adjusting. So I think that shows his class, his amateur background came through in that fight, where he was able to readjust and show that he was a very good fighter.
This is a whole nother level.
But that's a whole nother level. That Lomachenko's completely way up in the stratosphere up there in this fight. So we'll see what happens. I want to thank all the viewers. Make sure that you guys subscribe, share this video, hit the like button.
You see this? This is all the drinks that Carling was teaching that girl to make tonight. Yeah. That's why Carling's accent.
They're all rum and coke.
He had to teach her all this.
Rum and coke, rum, coke, and lime.
Vodka, Red Bull.
And don't forget to hit notification bell so that when we post a new video, you get notified and you can watch our videos at the Spartan Boxing Break. Here's Joey, Dave, Corling still at work.
This is drinkless Joey.
Enjoy the fights, and do us a favor. Put in the comments who your picks are for tomorrow's fights.
Like, subscribe.
All that good stuff.
Peace out.
We'll see you soon.